So this is my first attempt at kind of separating out things to do in an area and kind of outside of the resorts and or hotels, because those videos are starting to get quite long. So here in Branson, of the things that we looked at, there were only two things that really were situated such that I could get video of them. So I'm going to try and improve on that in the future. But this is actually the ride on the golf carts that you get at the top of the rock tourist attraction near Branson. And what you do is when you pay for the tickets, you get a time and access to go and take one of their golf carts that you rent, and you get to drive the golf cart along the path and stop where you'd like to take pictures, etc. And so there are a number of things to see along the way, including waterfalls, etc. And so here we have some of the footage of that. And I'm going to also intersperse a couple pictures of interesting things we saw in this area. The heck just thumped?
Oh. Whoa. Huh.
The heck is this?
Okay. I didn't expect him to roar at me.
Right?
Wow, these are neat.
Wow.
So this is the entrance to the cave that you get to drive through, and one of the attractions there is the Bat Bar, which it turns out to be, I guess, kind of a drive-through bar if you want to get something there, and if it's the time of year when it's open. It was open, but we don't really drink a lot of alcoholic beverages, so there wasn't much of a reason for us to stop other than to note just that this was an interesting thing. We hadn't really seen a drive-through bar in a tourist attraction before quite like this, certainly not on a golf cart. And soon after that, we found a bit of a waterfall that they had inside the cave with quite interesting lights set up to give it quite an interesting ambiance. And I kind of really enjoyed how this looked. So it's one of the things that you can see at that location. Now, one of the things I wasn't able to get any video of at other locations all around Branson, but that you should look into, are the mountain coasters. And they have quite a few of them, and I finally got to try one. It was quite interesting, but they wouldn't let me take any cameras on it or anything. So if you're in Branson, something else you can look forward to is a bunch of different mountain coasters. I don't know why we gotta look at construction vehicles, but...
I did say it was under construction, like on...
Now, once you get out on that walkway, they have a neat little binoculars that you can use. Unfortunately, at this time, all you can see are some construction areas. So this is kind of why we were mentioning that was kind of unfortunate. However, as Chad's looking through these binoculars, giving us an action shot, if you will, one of the things that Chad did that the rest of us weren't so interested in was go to the Titanic Museum, which I understand, if you're into that sort of thing, is quite entertaining and has a lot of interesting exhibits inside of it. So something else that you could look into in Branson is the Titanic Museum. Another site you can see in Branson is their Butterfly Palace, which, strangely enough, has reptiles and tortoises and things in it, when you get inside, in addition to butterflies. Now, one thing that I found is it is quite difficult to actually get good pictures of butterflies. They do put out some feeders of sugar and stuff to try and get them, but still, the butterfly pictures that I got that were worthwhile are a little few and far between. Megan nicely demoing one of their feeders there to get a butterfly, so nice modeling there. One of the less photogenic ways to get butterflies so you could see them was to have kind of cut up fruit slowly rotting there that the butterflies seem to like to land on and I guess feed on. And so not so much a butterfly, but an interesting butterfly chair that Chad is sitting on and I think enjoying himself, or perhaps not enjoying himself in this particular moment. So while we're here, one of the things that I thought would be good to talk about is how does this butterfly palace compare to other butterfly conservatories or places where you can go and be in like a huge butterfly room. And like so many things in Branson, I feel like this one is decidedly average. In fact, I think it was worse than any of the other ones I've been in, which include some in Los Angeles and some in Niagara Falls, Canada, that are really, really high quality, and you can really see an awful lot of butterflies. This one is a little bit smaller and also seems to be a little bit less focused in that it has kind of the reptile room and some other things in addition to just the butterflies. So was it worth coming in for the cost? Like I keep saying when talking about Branson, I think it's kind of marginal, barely there, but certainly if you're in the area and or you've never gone to see a bunch of tropical butterflies in a butterfly conservatory before, it's worth going to in that case. And kind of as I was saying, here's a couple things that I think they have in there just because they vaguely resemble a butterfly. In the case of this geode, and some flowers which may or may not be something that the butterflies are interested in. These flowers, I don't think I saw any butterflies landing on, but they do look pretty, and I think it made a good picture. So I guess that's about it of things that's worth showing here. One last butterfly for the Butterfly Palace. One nice thing is if you do pay and manage to keep your bracelet on, you can come back for a total of 3 days, but they are consecutive days. So I suppose if you really like the kind of small butterfly conservatory, you can go back the next day and the next day at the same price. Alright, Table Rock Lakeshore Trail. Closed. Visitor Center's closed on Mondays though. And unfortunately we're here on a Monday. And then, I don't know, a bunch of stuff. No entrance. I don't really know, but we're trying the public trail. So this walking trail is paved and relatively flat. So as you walk along, looks like they have some kind of a rocky beach down there at the lake. So this is the lake, I guess, Table Rock Lake. Not really sure, but when you come down off their walkway, this is what you can see. Kind of a rocky beach. A mid-sized lake, I would say. People do a lot of water sports on it. We saw a jet ski before, and then a bunch of boats. You can see this one coming a little bit closer. And yeah, it's a nice day today. And so this is a picture you can see over the lake. I was able to zoom in pretty good with one of my lenses. You can see there's a small outcropping or peninsula there. And this whole area is somewhat reminiscent to me of kind of what I keep saying about Branson. Almost okay, interesting. You could go there and go to the lake, but it's certainly not the most arresting views. It's certainly not the most impressive lakes I've been out to see. I feel like it gave me a feeling of almost the in terms of nature, of like the Adirondacks light. or maybe the Thousand Islands Light. There's just lake areas like Champlain, etc., around New York that are just a lot more stunning in my opinion, and you could do just as many water sports on them. And then in terms of the shows and restaurants that are there, it was very good food. I have to give it some credit for that. But it was mostly like chain restaurants like a Shake Shack or whatever. And so, like I was saying, for shows, it was kind of like a Great Smoky Mountains light, maybe. So yeah, again, kind of a 5 out of 10, average. Not a horrible place to go, but not a place to really travel to go to. And so I think that's kind of it of things that we went and saw in Branson, kind of things to do outside of the shows and some of the really touristy tourist traps. And so, yeah, as I kept saying, this is what we were able to find to do around in Branson if you're kind of like us and have the nature enjoyment and a couple different tourist events, but also looking to, keep the budget reasonable.